opportunity to spend some one-on-one time together. She reads to me and then asks me questions to make sure I retained it.
And you always do.
I always do.
Do you listen, Keith?
Keith? Yeah,
Okay.
Jerry.
Okay.
Listen, define listening.
How many times does she have to read the same article to you while you're making the trip up 90? Was it 95 or 81 you took?
We always do 95, and you know, it's particularly where for those who travel up 95, it's you know, it is what it is. But we and it's
Not
funny.
A lot of fun.
Man, I'll tell you what, we'll probably kick the show off with this, but it took us a little over 10 hours to go up on Thursday. And it's normally 6 to 7 hours, and then coming home yesterday, it took us just about 10 hours to get back, and it was pure volume, traffic. It was just this, you know, it's just unbelievable. I don't get it at $5 plus a gallon, because that's what it cost me to fill up there. I don't know where all these people are going, and maybe we'll kick the show off of that. I think a lot of it is people are just so pent up. They want to go, and they got enough cash reserves. They're doing it, but at some point, that wheel's going to stop.
We're going to talk about that today in the program. We're getting live on all social media. The man's fresh from Connecticut. The topic of today's show is
Shift.
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 The new phrase that the distinguished gentleman has coined. We'll talk real estate. We'll talk life. We'll talk the pursuit of happiness today on Real Talk with Keith Smith.
Batman and Robin.
Keith Smith.
Batman and Robin. And Alfred.
He's got a mic.
Alfred's wired up.
He's got the studio cam ready and a microphone. We can rock and roll when you're ready, J-Dubs. Good Monday morning, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith on the I Love CVille Network. We're live in Charlottesville, across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network, and we're presented by Realty Partners.
God.
Realty Partners.
What are you drinking in there?
This is iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
Not the morning ritual for you and I, just iced coffee today.
Whoa, what is that supposed to be?
I'm just saying, normally we do chest bumps, high fives, and jumping jacks to get jacked up. We didn't do that today.
I don't know. At my age, I've just waking up and having a cup of coffee.
You were scootering around Connecticut with your grandson.
I was, but the 3-year-old beat me out. I couldn't keep up with the darn kid.
What kind of scooter were you on?
So my daughter, so everybody who watches the show may or may not know, my daughter's a makeup artist in New York City.
And he missed the show on Friday to spend time with his daughter, son-in-law, and his 2 grandkids.
Correct. Another part of this conversation was my daughter from Seattle couldn't make it out.
Oh, she couldn't make it?
They canceled the flights.
Dang.
Well, that's kind of what's going on here, and that's kind of the essence of what we want to kind of talk a little bit. What the heck's going on out there? But yeah, so what she does with these big like movie sets and they're huge warehouses, and so she has like a scooter. Not like an electric scooter, but like one of like a skateboard kind of thing. So she scoots from one end of the studio or the lot or whatever it is to the other end. And Mr. Smith saw one and said, "Hey, let's do that."
So was it like a Lime or a Bird scooter?
No. It's the one that's not motorized.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right. It's got the little T handle on it,
and you push it with your feet.
You push it with your feet.
Okay.
And so my grandson was on his version. I said, "Hey, I can keep up with him." I probably didn't. It didn't end well. Let's say there was a bump. Let me say there was a bump. Scooter stayed, and I went.
And you didn't hurt yourself?
Maybe I might have.
Oh man! Distinguished gentleman getting down in the weeds right there with the grandkids on the scooters.
So we were saying offline. It's really cool. I mean, you'll find out one day when you get there.
You can give them back. That's the best part. Neil Williamson, good morning, Neil.
We joke around about that, but being a grandparent is really cool.
Yeah, you give them back.
Yeah, that's kind of a joke.
That's a huge cool part.
No, it's really cool just to be around them.
You're not the only grandparents that have made the comment that you get to give them back.
Yeah, I know that. I know
Okay.
that. I was trying to go a little higher than that,
Okay.
a little bit more refined other than that, particularly since Sir Neil Williamson is watching.
Neil Williamson did a great job on Friday.
Yeah, they did. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing it. Thank you for allowing me to go ahead and spend time with it. But so since my daughter calls me dad
Okay.
and my grandson calls me pop,
Okay.
he calls me pop dad.
So your grandson calls you Pop. Your daughter calls you Dad. Your grandson heard your daughter calling you Dad the whole time. And he scratched his head and he's like, hey, I call him Pop. But Mommy's calling him Dad. Mike
So-
Schulman, hello, welcome to the show.
So he must be pop dad.
So he's Pop Dad.
He figured that out all on his own.
Hey, Pop Dad.
And not only that, when my daughter said, so who is that? It's Pop Dad Tyson. My daughter's last name is now Tyson. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. Loved hanging out with little Miss Vienna, our little 16-month-old firecracker that is way smarter than me and way more energetic. I was having a hard time keeping up.
Well, let's talk about this. So you watched Friday's show. You were with the grandkids.
And I was chiming in.
Harry and Tyson. Is it Harry Tyson?
Harry Tyson is my son-in-law.
Yeah. Your son-in-law, your grandsons were watching.
Yeah.
You were chiming in during the show.
Maybe too much.
What struck you about Friday's show? Quentin Beckham, Sean Tubbs, Neil Williamson, and yours truly.
You know what struck me, to be honest with you? Part of doing this show so often, you kind of think you need to be here.
Uh-huh.
I realized I didn't need to. The show was so awesome.
Show was awesome.
The show was
But you
awesome.
were missed.
Thank you. The show was awesome. It's always fun to watch Sean and Neil go at it. And not in a vindictive way, but they come from different perspectives
Oh, yeah.
on stuff, and that's kind of what we've been trying to do here recently on the show, right? By bringing people with different opinions on and so forth and so on to kind of go back and forth. But today is Monday, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of want to do a quick 7-day recap of the market.
So, folks, we'll give you some updates on how the market is doing here on a Monday, courtesy of Keith Smith of Yes Realty Partners.
Yes, look at this. I got the shirt.
I see it.
I got
like
the shirt
it.
on.
It's a hell of a logo right there.
It's a hell of a logo. It's almost as good as that logo.
It's very recognizable. It makes an impact. All right, so you got some digits and some data you want to relay.
Yeah,
to us.
just throw some stuff out. We normally do this. How did the last 7 days go? And I usually been doing it the last 7 days versus 7 days, the same 7 days a month ago.
Okay.
We haven't come up with a word for inventory. Yona's recommended we use available homes for sale.
Okay,
So,
available homes for sale. That's good,
available
Yona.
homes for sale. Instead
like
of,
that, Yona.
Instead of inventory, I guess we're not like pivot. We can't use that word any longer.
That pivot's played out.
Played out. So the last 7 days, 80 homes came on the market, 105 went off. 44 price changes, and I'm going to hold that number to the side for a moment because that's going to be important compared to 30 days ago.
Okay.
104 sold. So 80 came on the market. This is the car footprint, right? Everybody who listens to the show know that. Charlottesville, Albemarle, Fluvanna, Nelson, Green, and Louisa. This does not include the other side of the mountain at that point. But the same week, 30 days ago, there was 119 units that came on new.
Okay.
140 went pending. So the volume is dropping down. We've been talking about this for quite some time, that the volume of transactions are starting to decrease. But very interesting. Exact number of units changed, price. A month ago, there was 44. This last 7 days, it was 44. So I think what's happening, I think there's normal percentage of price changes. And if you look into that, some of it's new construction, which is actually increased in price, not decreased in price. So that's just an overall price change on that end of it. So you're starting to, I think you're starting to see a little bit of a leveling out, for lack of a better term.
We're seeing the absolute impact of prices that have double-digit increased over the last couple years, plus interest rates spiking, and let's cut to the chase. Perhaps depleting a little bit of the buyer pool. We know it's still there, the buyer pool. It's just not as robust or deep as it was, say, 6 months ago.
Yeah, and the sold a month ago, by the way, was 108 versus 104. So the volume of transactions are still happening. So sold is actually consummated, recorded, we've closed the actual deal. So the volume of closings isn't different week over week, month over month, right? Looking at the same week on that end of it. But the overall inventory coming on is dropping a little bit. It's about roughly almost 20, 30, 40 units, somewhere around that, less a month. So we kind of called this some time ago.
We did call this.
That was going to do that.
So what's the temperature on the street? You've coined shift.
What'd you say? My hearing.
Shift.
You got to be careful.
Not SHIT, shift.
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 Yeah.
The market is a shifting.
Yeah, so to quote Bob Dylan, the times are changing,
That's
the markets
right.
are changing.
I
Thank
like
you.
that.
Thank you on that end of it, to steal that end of it.
Oh, you got the picture on screen, the Gary Keller picture.
Oh,
on
look
the
at
book.
you, huh? Look at that. I don't get to see that.
Alfred doing his thing.
doing
Thank
his
you, Alfred. That's
Look.
Judah Wickower, by the way.
Yeah. So, it's interesting, the temperature on the street. It's interesting on our end of it. Our actual transactions are picking up, right? Our end of it. What Yes Realty Partners has been doing. As far as listings and sales, it seems like the activity is not reflecting what the decrease over the last month in overall volume. Don't know what that is. That just could be where things that we've been working on for a while is starting to pay off a little bit. It's hard to figure out. Yona and I were driving up. Took us almost 11 hours on a Thursday.
How many times did you stop to pee?
Oh,
One thing we know about the distinguished gentleman is he needs to pee every hour.
Thank you for sharing
I
that.
just want to let people know.
Thank you for sharing that.
I think you share this on
now
previous shows.
And everybody knows my prostate maybe not as what it should be. Thank you, Jerry, for doing that.
Kevin Yancey, good morning. He's got a comment for you. I'll get to in a moment.
Thank you, Kevin.
You have shared that before.
I have. I'm an open book, right?
You're very open on the show.
I am
more open than I am.
I am an open book, and
My wife's made that comment before. Wow, Keith really shares a lot on the show.
Oh, was that a dig at you?
No,
Yeah.
it was not a dig at me. She just respects what you do.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? It's what you see is what you get, and there's no need to hide anything, right? And I do it also from a different reason, particularly about, and we're about ready to talk into the R word, recession, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I've been preparing for the last 2 days to have this conversation for the next 2 days. But, having an open and honest discussion about stuff is the only way you can fix things.
So let's talk about this.
I'm curious, your wife is thinking I'm a little too open?
No, she thinks you do a great job. Yancey in Waynesboro, king of Waynesboro, in fact, rising interest rates, appraisal differential, and possible ARMs are making buyers reluctant, especially first-time home buyers. Do you buy that from Kevin Yancey?
Yes and maybe no yes, right?
Yes and maybe no yes. Imagine that.
The reason we coined shift.
Jamie Turner, the mayor of Gordonsville, loved hearing that you go to the bathroom every hour. He's repping the Pep and Culpeper, the mayor of Gordonsville. Michelle Scheid also
So to
loved
speak
to hear
about
that.
Gordonsville, we actually stopped in Gordonsville on the way up.
Ooh.
On the way down. On the
Fried
way up.
chicken at Ice House?
No, we're.
Wine at Well Hung?
I'm sorry, Neil. We did not do that.
Okay.
We needed some dead pig fix.
Barbecue Exchange?
Yeah. We it was really great. We pre-ordered it on the phone, stopped it because they closed at 7:00. We literally got there at 7:00. But it was interesting. We were talking about Gordonsville. I didn't notice it, but on the way coming up, they opened up a new bakery and a cafe up across from the Ice House. So that town is
booming.
Really matured, and it's really a cute little town. But back to Kevin's question, the reality of it is, and this is going to get worse. This recessionary position that I'm going to take here in a little while.
Ooh, you're gonna be a bear today, huh? You're normally very bullish. Today you're going to be a bear.
It's not a bear. It's just the reality of it. I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think we are in one already.
Yeah.
It's been my position for quite some time on that end of it. But and what I want to talk about is how the recession isn't going to impact housing It's going to impact housing, but it's not going to impact it like it did in 2006, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But to go back to Kevin's question, and we can't use this word any longer, but I think what's impacting the first-time home buyer more is the lack of something to buy. I didn't use the word inventory.
You did that well. That was very good.
I didn't use the word
I was
inventory.
impressed.
I think that's impacting more because, but you know, man, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 phone calls from Thursday to the end of Sunday from first-time home buyers, teacher, cops, firemen, you know, because we're listing the affordable housing project that I'm chairing on this stuff of it. Literally all of them in tears. What to do? I got nothing to buy. I got no place to live. My landlord just, I'm not going to use the word double, but that's not what they did. But my landlord is
Jacked up my rent.
double digit increasing year over year. I need a place to live. And there's nothing more helpless not to help these folks. I can't help them. I can guide them through the land trust process and get them into the system, but some of them can't even meet that criteria on that end of it. They're just not making enough money to afford it on it. So the short answer, Kevin, is all of those things are impacting it. You know, one of the articles Yona read me on the way this was down was an article in the Wall Street Journal, and I'll send you a link on it. I didn't get a chance to do. Excuse me, New York Times on that end of it.
Does Yona think we're in recession?
She does not like me using that word.
Oh, okay.
She wants me to use the word. We're in the middle of
Financial hardship.
Transition.
Okay.
So recessions aren't. Man, I'm going to get myself into trouble. All recessions, really, in essence, in itself is not really that bad of a thing. So I look at I've lived through enough of them. The last one that went through, Jerry, was not a recession. That was a depression. That was a time of great unpleasantness. That impacted everything. But at the moment, I look at a recession as a pressure cooker, right? So a pressure cooker has a little valve. You ever cook with a pressure cooker? It's got a little valve on the top of it. It regulates the pressure. It's supposed to let a little bit out. It's supposed to let things balance a little bit and go in and on it. And I don't think it's going to impact the housing. It's not going to create a housing crisis on that end of it. And we'll talk a little bit why to do that. But I think the world of Kevin, and I'm trying to figure out a way to answer his question, and I don't have a magic answer to it. Nobody does in this thing.
He says a recession is basically a correction. Jamie Turner wants to make sure we highlight the burger at Patch Brewing Company. He says it's a phenomenal burger, by the way. Andre Xavier and John Craig's Patch Brewing Company.
Yeah, man. It's just we were cruising through that at 7 o'clock at night after being on the road for nine hours, and most of the places were closed, and we just needed to grab some, put it in the car, and keep on going on that end of it. But yeah, so look, we technically the first quarter was already recessionary, right? We were down 1.4% or something like that over the previous quarter. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see this number bounce up and down, and this isn't going to be a normal recession. And there's really no such thing as that. They're all very different, and they're going to impact certain folks a different way. But to go back to Kevin's question. This is kind of the Marine in me, right? The only way I know how to predict something or to do that is to make it happen, right? I don't know if that makes any sense, right? You can predict and you can do that, but the only way you're going to do that is to pull up your bootstraps and say, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to make this happen. But the reality of it is there's nothing to buy.
Right.
And I've said this more than once, right? The buyer pool just went from 20 feet deep to 12 feet deep. The inventory or the homes to buy on it went from a foot deep to 3 foot deep.
Our colleague Scott Morris, who we have a lot of respect for, says
sure.
this could be the peak of where rates get to.
I think think he's right, actually. But it's not normal, right? So if you go back to Volcker and you go back to the 70s, the only way you're going to get this inflation to come down, and we'll talk about my steak experience here in a minute, but the only way that they're going to get that down, the way they've traditionally been doing that, is to raise rates so they're matching the inflation rate. So the inflation rate is roughly 8%, 9% right now. But I don't see the Fed doing that, because if they did that, then that means mortgage rates are 9%, 10%, and I just don't. That would just put everything in a tailspin.
Neil Williamson's comment, president of the Free Enterprise Forum. Neil Williamson, we love you. You did a great job on Friday, Neil. He has this comment.
Look at that, and you sang it too.
I very much enjoy Neil Williamson. I like Neil's company.
You know,
I like being around Neil.
Yeah, you know, he's the type of guy, even if you don't agree with him, you love him.
I generally agree with just about everything he says. He's quick-witted, and he's got a mischievous streak, and he's a little bit of a jokester. That's very
really?
Very
I don't
similar
know.
to
I got
me.
a couple of zings, and I wasn't even here.
I love Neil Williamson. He has this comment. This is the president of the Free Enterprise Forum. Growth will slow down, not reverse, because the Fed's rate raising is nothing like in the past.
I agree.
The main difference today is that interest rates remained abnormally low. Until rates get to the capital market determined level, i.e. without the Fed's interference, the Federal Reserve is still running a loose money period. And that source is Forbes
So
magazine.
it's an interesting observation. Filled up, going up at Wawa, coming down. It was a local New Jersey version of Wawa up in there. And let me ask you a question. When you fill up with your card, do you use a debit card or a credit card?
I have 3% back on
So you use like a specific
Visa Rewards card.
Yeah,
And my reward on the Visa Rewards is 3% on gas.
Got it. But
So I only use that card for gas.
and you pay that off every month.
Yeah, and I get
Got
the
it.
money back. And on top of that, I do it with Tiger Fuel, and I'm
Yeah.
a market member.
Got it.
So you accumulate points. So for instance, my last pump, I think it was 2,500 points on my Tiger Fuel app, and that gave me 50 cents off each gallon of gas.
So how many people do you think actually do that? The point I'm trying to get to? How many people actually use a credit card and pay it off at the end of the month?
Probably not many.
I know it's not many.
Yeah, probably not
Statistically, it's not many. And it was really interesting because I was trying to think, what the hell, at $5 a gallon, because that's what it was up north, where are these people going? It was literally bumper to bumper traffic. I think we averaged something like 35 miles an hour going all the way up on that end of it. And it was not accidents. It was not anything like that. This was just pure volume getting on and off and through. But when I was looking around at the Wawa and the gas station up there,
They were packed.
no, everybody was using, just me being me, everybody was using Visa. You could tell they were using credit cards. Not that I was staring at them and copying.
Yeah, were you getting their numbers? Would you order some stuff online?
I got some stuff coming from China.
Okay, all right.
But my point is, people, there's so much, I just think I'm a little worried about all this cash getting spent right now and some of it getting built up on credit cards. I don't know if that's going to impact things out. We use a debit card. Since the time of great unpleasantness,
You debit card everything.
we very rarely use credit cards,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I don't care about the points. I don't care. It's just based on our experience, right? Because
Uh-huh.
we lost everything we had, and we had to build everything up. If we go on vacation, it's all paid for in cash up front, right? If I use a debit card, it's the same as cash. I always have cash in my account. Sometimes I forget my debit card, and I've got to finagle my way out of the parking garage.
I see her all the time. She asks about you all the time. She's so nice. She loves you.
She's a wonderful person. But if
You should tell him the porterhouse story.
yeah, so there's my son-in-law Harry Tyson is
We love you, Harry Tyson.
love him to death. You're going to tag him, aren't you?
Should I tag him?
Yeah, tag him.
Okay.
He'll chime in. Just him and Neil can. One of these days, him and Neil are going to get together. I'm just going to sit here and take it because they'll end up busting my chops for an hour and a half. So there's a restaurant that we go to. It's the steakhouse that they like steak. That's his thing, and that's what we do when we go up there. We always make sure we take them out. We get a babysitter. Oh, by the way, $25 an hour for a babysitter up there. $25 an hour for a babysitter up there. So the waiter, who's been there for like 30-something years, it's one of these traditional steakhouses. It's like the Aberdeen Barn. It's just been there forever. And he hands us a piece of paper with the menu on it, like a printed piece
like a
of
9 by 11
loose leaf copy paper,
which you wouldn't expect at a steakhouse.
And I went, normally it's a leather bound thing, yada yada yada. And I'm looking around and I'm looking at the top of the paper and it has today's date on it. And then I went, oh, I know what's going on. They're creating a menu each day because of the steak prices going up. So we got a Harry and I split a porterhouse steak on it.
Porterhouse, a good cut. Is that your favorite cut?
It was until I paid for that one.
Well, tell them what you paid.
$175.
$175. Did you hear that, Judah?
For a steak.
$175 for a porterhouse for 2 people at a restaurant. That is insane. I know you got something that comes to mind over there. $175.
And it's funny. So he's
you better got that medium rare.
Of course. Okay. He's a actuary by trade. He's a number guy. His math, and so we were actually digesting the menu. I said, well, my preferred steak is the New York strip.
Strip's great. I like a ribeye.
Well, he was going to get a ribeye. I was going to get a thing. When we added it together, it was more than that. And we said, heck with it. Well, let's get the 175. But and that's what I was asked the waiter. I said, what's up with the paper thing? He says, look, man, our wholesaler's changing prices every day, and we need to change it every day. Eventually, all this is gonna cause something to stop, right? Eventually, our rationale was okay, we got enough, we saved enough money, right? We got enough. It's the kids. We'll treat them. It's okay. We'll do it, right? But eventually, that pot of money that we've saved, we're either gonna not do this anymore because we want to save that money, right? Or
you're not taking any more trips to Connecticut? Is that what you're saying?
No, we're not going to probably go to that steakhouse again, or we're going to split it.
Yeah, or that 2-person porterhouse is going to go 3 ways.
No, 4 ways.
4 ways, yeah, right.
4 ways. Yeah, and it actually did. We shared. We always share the meals anyway.
Yeah, family style
on that end of the stuff. But anyway, so I kind of wanted to focus a little bit in the next 2 days, today and on Wednesday, because Scott's not going to be able to join us. He's out traveling on. Let's kick off this recession conversation and how do people feel out there? And you asking me, what I thought the vibe was out there on the street. I'd love to have people chime in.
Jamie Turner, what's the vibe? You rep the PEP. You're the mayor of Gordonsville. How are you managing inflation, JT? How are you managing recessionary times, JT, especially as a new homeowner? Kevin says, I got fuel Friday at 6:48 a.m. I had to refuel at 12:48 p.m., the same station, same day, same pump.
Went up.
This was diesel.
Yeah.
At 6:48 a.m., it was $5.95. At 12:48 p.m., it was $5.88. A reduction of 7 cents. Now, I'm not complaining about a price drop, but how can fuel in the tank lose or gain 7 cents a gallon 4 hours later?
Yeah.
I wonder the same, dude.
I don't disagree with that. That's way above my pay grade.
Here's another question I have.
It depends on where he got it. So if it was something like a Wawa or something like that, I'd imagine
they have purchasing power.
Well, no, I'd imagine that their prices is all kind of connected to some sort of algorithm of
for sure, 100%.
Versus, a mom and pop gas station, I bought, and I think that's what he's thinking, I bought 1,000 gallons of fuel at 1 cent, and I'm selling it at 1.5 cents, right? And then when that tank gets down, I buy more, then I change the price. I think that's how that works.
Well, how about when you pass a station and they're closely in close proximity to one another? And one station you're passing, it's $4.59. And the station, right down the road, is 25 cents more a gallon for that. That's a head scratcher. You ever wonder about that,
Or
Judah?
one right across the street.
Oh, yeah.
Across the street. It's like, why is there a price difference of these two stations and they're right next to each other? And I would very much encourage everyone that's watching the program, wherever you get your gas, to sign up for the fuel rewards points. If you're going to the same station every time, get a points rewards membership. It has substantially saved me money during this period of fuel inflation.
Fuel. So do you think it's just limited to fuel or everything across the board?
Oh, everything is going up in price. I mean, everything. I mean, groceries, like you said, going out to dinner,
But
trips
has
to
it changed?
Costco.
Has it currently changed the way you're doing anything right? Are you going out less, buying less fuel, or you're just sucking it up?
We're sucking it up as of now, but we're having the conversation. I mean, I know one way that we can do it, and Jamie, we'll get to your comment here, is to carpool more. That's a conversation that we're having, the wife and I. Jamie says, I got a rental in Orange County and renting out the basement to travel nurses to decrease my overhead. My fiance and I are fortunate enough to have a DC salary and live in a lower cost of living area, so we're doing all right. Started increasing our savings rate to prepare for the uncertainty to come.
It's funny, I had a conversation with a couple of loan officers on the way down yesterday, and, saving cash. So if everybody starts saving cash, right, and stop going out, that could impact this inflationary increase, right? But man, I'll tell you what, you could not. I don't know why I keep on coming back there, but just the volume of people on the road at these inflated gas prices is just kind of blew my mind. Oh, I forgot something, by the way.
You're gonna put the sticker up there. Neil says fuel replacement costs change hourly. So the price of the fuel is being adjusted hourly. President of the Free Enterprise Forum, Neil Williamson.
Yeah.
Grayson says this, gentlemen, these are just gonna be the new prices for gas. Get ready and watch out.
Yeah, so
Do you buy that, Judah Wickhauer? Are these just the new prices? Do you buy that, Keith Smith? A lot of people feel that way.
well, I've read somebody, we're on social media, and one of the social media platforms that at least this show will never run on is Nextdoor.
Okay.
I don't, at least my show, what I do, because there's so much bad information out there, and I had to actually jump into one conversation that somebody was saying that the price a liter in Europe was $8. No, it's a gallon, so a liter has little around 4 gallons. It's roughly $1.50 a liter right now, depending on which country you're in on that end of it. But these have been the normal prices in Europe for years and years and years. And they adapted to it.
Jamie says we're planning a wedding right now, Jamie Turner, so we're tightening up the budget for sure. The venue has increased prices a few times due to the cost of goods increase on their end. Wow. Escalator pricing and planning a wedding with the vendors. Jamie, thank you for sharing that. We know the escalator pricing is certainly very prevalent in the home building process, as cost of goods are quite volatile.
We're going to have
right
two
now.
pros come in on Friday to talk about that. We're going to have Christopher Bremett from Bramante Homes and Amanda Lamont from Stanley Martin Homes to talk about the O shift from a new construction perspective. How is that going? Are they seeing it coming up and down? We're going to do a couple of different things on this thing. But see, I kind of, from my perspective and what we do for a living, and at the end of the day, what we do is relational, right?
Oh, yeah.
What we do is it's dollar and cents and pluses and minuses and helping people out, but it's all about feelings, right? About emotions. All these purchases that we do or sales have emotional ties to it on that end of it. And when you have to buy a home, you have to buy a home, right? But I constantly ask, and Jude, I'm going to ask you to go to slide number 4 on this stuff. I'm always asked constantly, well, are we in a bubble, right? right? And the best slide that I can come up with is about the lending standards, right? And we're going to have Woody Fincham come in. Thank you, buddy. We're going to have Woody Fincham come in and talk a little bit about this. But what's very interesting about this lending standards is it's just a formula that is used out there for what's called a mortgage credit availability index. So if there's any mortgage folks going at it, if you take a look at 2004, 5, and 6, it was up around where the housing bubble was somewhere around 900. We're at 121, which is this index that they use. And that's been kind of level, somewhere between 120 and 200, now 900 being the bubble. So the restrictions to buy from a lending control standards on it is really going to keep this thing from overheating and blowing up. The reality, though, of it is, I'm working a couple of deals right now that the people that can do it are just bringing more cash. We've been talking about this for forever on that end of it, but they're just going to bring a little bit more cash.
I want to talk about the first-time home buyer. And you have said on this show before that this is not the most difficult climate for the first-time home buyer to buy a house. You've made that comment multiple times on this show.
Prove it.
The tape doesn't lie.
Is it really tape or is it digital now?
It's not tape.
It's not tape.
It's just
anymore.
the same. But RealTalkWithKeithSmith.com doesn't lie. All the shows are there.
It does not lie. I actually got called out on something about that the other day.
What'd you get called out on?
Let's say I got called.
Was it something you said?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
You've said in the past that this is not the most difficult time for first-time home buyers to buy a house. Kevin Yancey says fuel, by the way, in the Middle East is 28 cents a gallon.
Yeah, because it's subsidized.
28 cents a gallon for
gas.
That's
in Saudi Arabia.
In the Middle East.
It's subsidized. The government just subsidized it. So what I was trying to say, Mr. Miller.
I'm going to say this is the most difficult time for first-time home buyers in the history of buying a house.
Yeah, so prove.
You don't buy it.
It's not that I don't buy it. It's just, that's a pretty big statement.
Oh, it's a huge statement. I know the significance of that statement.
That's a huge statement to make on that stuff. I can tell you, because we had it, I can't remember who was the guest, and we were having that conversation, that, back when we bought for the first time.
You had massively high interest rates.
Well, it wasn't high interest rates. So this only goes back to 2004, right? But the lending standards were very different, much more difficult back there to get it, back in the late 80s. Talk about recessions, right? So, it was, it was difficult to get, it was just difficult to get it. Now, for me, it was a little bit more difficult because we were independent. We were owning our own businesses, right? So it was very hard, particularly at that point, to go. It was Scott. That was the conversation we were having.
Scott Morris.
Morris on that end of it. But yeah, so there was there was nothing to buy, right?
Rates were high.
Rates were high. It was extremely difficult to go get it. There was none of this first-time home buyer 0% down, 3% down federal, programs which we have now.
So you were putting 20% down?
We were putting more than 20% down. And just talk about the difficulty right now. I can't tell you the specifics, but I was having a conversation with Scott actually on the way in on a buyer that wants to put about 40% cash down. And my question to Scott was, great, then that waives the appraisal. Because normally when you're putting like 30% down, it kind of waives it. He goes, no, not anymore. Where there's 6 other criteria that we have to match before the bank waives the appraisal. So what the lenders are now saying, however they're being regulated, will hold it. If I'm putting 40% cash down or half of the cash down on it, that doesn't automatically bunt the appraisal, which struck me as an odd. I have to finish that conversation with them after we're done here today for this client that we're trying to write an offer on and go ahead and get it, because I got all excited. I said, great, if we're going to put that much cash down, then we can waive the appraisal on it, and he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold your horses there, Batman." And
Hold your horses, Batman.
hold your horses, Batman. That sounds more like something you'd say to
Is that
Robin.
a phrase in Batman?
No, it's not.
Hold your horses, Batman.
No, it's not.
Neil shares a link. Can we give Neil Williamson some props? Anytime Neil
Yeah.
puts a comment in the comment section, we should respond by singing a jingle live on air for Neil. Are you going to sing this jingle, Judah Wickhauer, for Neil Williamson, or do you want to sing the jingle?
Huh?
Give me a little a jingle for Neil.
I'm drinking my coffee. Leave
Come
me
on,
alone.
Judah, do you want to sing a jingle for Neil?
What's the jingle?
You got to just come up with it on the fly. Keith?
No, Neil. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Neil. He shares a link from Fortune
Do me a
magazine.
favor. Slide that coffee over here.
It's coffee every day. Oh, so close. Every day it's iced coffee. So he shares a link. Can you slide it back? Don't mess up my Yeti.
I'm worried about spilling it.
Oh, man. That could have been better. Did you get that on studio camera, Judo? I hope you did.
Just the bear.
Just the end where he spilled
The
the
end
coffee.
result. At the end of it.
Okay, so he shares a link
Do
from
me a
Fortune.
favor. Go to a one shot.
Go to, where are you going?
I'm going to clean that up.
No, you don't have to clean that up. It's completely cool. This very
We spent enough time together that I know that bothers you.
this very expensive antique table is okay.
Is that what this is?
It's a very expensive antique table. This is
I just want
refinished.
everybody to know I have not shoes on. I have my sandals on. I have my Vans on at the moment.
Studio camera over here, Judah.
The you know what's getting a little deep here.
This is reclaimed Tibetan.
Why are you lying for?
Reclaimed Tibetan oak, white oak from Tibet over here.
They don't have trees in Tibet.
They don't have trees in Tibet? Are there no trees in Tibet? There's trees in Tibet.
I trust Judah way before I.
Judah has no idea. if
Hey
there's
guys, let's
trees
get
in
back
Tibet
on
or not.
thing. So
There are trees in Tibet.
Neil says this.
Neil, please.
He shares
please,
a link from
please
Fortune
stop
magazine.
by. Save me.
He shares a link from Fortune magazine. And the link, and it's a subscribe-only link. So pretty much all media these days is going behind a paywall. So I can pretty much only read the headline in the first paragraph, and then everything else is behind a paywall, but it's Fortune magazine. The headline, are you ready, Judah? 3-shot, Judah. Let's get you in the mix. Look at that hair. Look at his lush locks over there. This is the longest I've ever seen his hair. It's very hipster. I like it. Look sharp, Judah.
Put it in a ponytail.
Can you wear, would you ever?
I don't think it's long enough to.
Oh,
no, you got it. You can get a ponytail.
Yeah, Judah.
Yeah, but then the ends pop out.
Even
here.
Liza the dog was like, "Hey, I
Dude,
like-
let's put your hair in a ponytail, take a photo of you behind the camera in the microphone, and create you a Tinder profile.
Oh man.
You need a Tinder
So
profile.
hold it. Is Real Talk with Keith Smith now getting into the dating game?
We're going to try to help Judah.
Judah,
Judah deserves a better half, don't you
I
think?
think Judah's doing okay.
Okay, so here's the headline, Judah. Are you ready for this?
So
From
that's a comment from a father. Never ever push your kids into that kind of.
Well, I
thing.
would hope the father wouldn't push his daughters onto Tinder. I mean, I hope that's not what you're doing.
No, let's do your thing.
This is
I'm
his
reading
work
my
colleague.
notes.
Sounds
You
like
go
a-
do your thing. I'm reading.
It sounds
my
like a new age country song. Daddies don't push your daughters onto Tinder.
That's so good. Daddies, don't push your daughters on Tinder. Who would sing that? Jason Aldean? I think Jason Aldean would sing that, Judah.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Maybe Garth Brooks. Kevin Yancey says, are you going to man bun it, Judah Wickhauer?
Oh no.
Kevin, save me. Somebody come over.
All
here
right,
and
here's
save
the
me.
link. Here's the link. This is from Fortune. We were having a little fun here. Mischievous Keith doesn't want to stay mischievous here.
No, I've done all this notes and studying. But yeah, I'm
So
having
this is
fun.
from Fortune magazine. The headline says, yes, this is likely the worst housing market ever for first-time home buyers, but it still may be a good time to buy a home. Parentheses, really, close parentheses. And then here's the first paragraph from the article. Fortune magazine. This is from Neil Williamson. Neil Williamson. According to a recent Gallup poll,
Sir Neil.
just 30% of Americans think now is a good time to buy a house. It's the first time this number has ever been below 50%
Wow.
as far back as 1978. So from 78 to now, how many years is that? Quick math. That's 44 years. 44 years. 30% of people, according to this Gallup poll, thinks it's a good time to buy a house. That's the lowest number since 78.
Yeah, and all I was saying, Okay, maybe this is Liza's agreeing.
Yeah, that was Liza, for those that are wondering. Not Keith's stomach being hungry.
Yes, sir. And it could be both. Who knows? But the reality of it is all I'm trying to make is, there's been other times that was more difficult. I mean, you can go back and pull numbers and all this different things, but it's hard. It's the worst time for the first time home buyer when you can't find a house to buy, you can't borrow money,
Your rent's going up.
your rent's going up.
Double-digit percentage.
I think
Your fuel's going up. Your cost of goods are going up. Your groceries are going up. Your electricity's going up.
you said that went back to 78.
Yeah.
So 78 would have caught the tail end of
Vulgar.
Well, but the gas crisis is back in the late 70s. That would have caught that a little bit too. Look, I'm changing my thinking a little bit, and this is usually what happens in these shows, right? There's one thing that didn't happen when I was buying a house in the 80s. Rent was not going up like this. Rent was not going up. We were okay.
When you bought your first house,
I was paying $400 a month.
What was for your mortgage or rent?
Rent.
Your rent was $400 a month
For a 3-bedroom house at the lake.
at Lake Monticello.
Yep, it's $400.
That's a good deal.
No, yeah, at the time, maybe not, right?
Yeah.
At the time,
Was gas doing what it's doing now when you bought your first house?
yeah, I can't remember how much gas was.
Neil
back
Williamson,
in,
Kevin Yancey, when was it when you bought the house?
88.
88. What was gas doing Yancey and Williamson in 88?
Yeah, I don't.
Was groceries doing what they're doing in 88?
No, but you got to keep in mind in 88, we just didn't have the money, right? We were.
Well, you were young. You were starting a company.
Well, most first-time home buyers are young, right?
Yeah.
Actually, first-time home buyers are now moving into their 30s, right? We were in our 20s.
First-time home buyers are now in their late 30s, some in
Correct.
their early 40s.
Correct, yeah. So I was in that. But there's I think what you're trying to get to a little bit is, even as hard as it is right now, buying a home is without a doubt hedges against inflation, right? This article Yona read to me was about this NIMBYism, and I'll send it to you, and I'll send it to Neil because I really like Neil's.
Did you do the jingle when you mentioned Neil's name?
No jingle.
Okay, sorry.
No jingle.
You sure?
No jingle.
Okay.
You do not. We put the word "sir" before Neil. You can't jingle a "sir."
Oh, so because he's sir, he
You can't-
doesn't get a jingle?
You can't do that. That's like the Queen. You're not going to jingle
Neil
the
would
Queen.
take a jingle over sir.
Okay.
Would you want distinguished gentleman or a jingle every time your name is mentioned? You'd want a jingle.
Sure.
Would you want a jingle?
Totally want a jingle. Totally want a jingle.
Jamie, one thing that has been very sad is seeing
Neil,
the local
help.
mom and pops close. What's y'all's prediction on what types of businesses are going to take over the real estate of all these restaurants that are closing? That's a great question. So I will offer some perspective here. We have gotten into the business brokerage side of things, and there is a lot of businesses that are going to be coming on the market for sale. A lot of established and well-known businesses that are going to be coming on the market for sale. Many of them are restaurants. So he wants to know what is going to take the place of these businesses that are closing now. In particular, local restaurants that don't have the burn rate to survive these times.
Well, that's the point I was trying to make about everybody's kind of spending this cash. We're fortunate. We had enough cash. We went out and spent what I feel is an obscene amount of money for 4 people to go out to eat dinner.
You spent over $600
Yeah.
on 4 people.
On 4 people.
That's an obscene amount of money.
I believe that's an obscene
That's an
amount.
obscene amount of money. So what were you talking about?
but I wanna get-
$170 a person?
I was blessed to be able to. Well, that was with a tip, and
Yeah, with tip.
I tip very well.
I know you do,
always,
because you're generous.
on that end of it.
He's one of the most generous people I know, Keith Smith.
I start at 20% and
Yep, that's what I do.
Work my way up.
Yeah. If it's crappy service, I still give 20.
Yeah, it's the way the system is set up over here. But in any event, I will tell you, as much as I enjoyed the steak and enjoyed the company and the cocktail and all this kind of great stuff, when we go back up there again, we're probably not going to go there.
So you're making the pivot from
We're going to go to a taco
the
place.
steakhouse to the steak burrito at Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
No. We're not going to go that far. Let's not get carried away. We
Yancey
won't go
says
out
it
to
was
eat.
88 cents a
Sure.
gallon.
Sure.
The highest gallon price in 88 was 61 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
61 cents a gallon.
Thank you.
I'm going to make the statement
I
again.
can't remember I remembered yesterday because it was brutal. But
I'll make the statement again. I think this is the hardest and most
Yeah,
difficult
and,
time
and
for first-time home buyers
and
in American history.
And I'm starting not to disagree with you on it. All the point I'm trying to make is that there were other times that were bad. But as I'm thinking it through and we're having this conversation live, right, the only factor that was not in there was the increase of rentals. And this article that I was referring to that I'll send to you and Neil, it was very thoughtfully written. It was about this NIMBY-YIMBY dynamic, right? Yes, in my backyard versus no, not in my backyard and all that stuff. And it was very interesting because they wrapped around this not in my backyard thing that's been going on pretty much for the last 30-something years has really decreased the inventory of homes, of places for people to live. And that is just causing so much pressure that maybe 30 years ago or 40 years ago wasn't there.
Definitely.
I know.
Definitely.
Wasn't there. So I'm kind of leaning that way, but there's a slide number 3 if Judah can put on for me.
He's got it up.
So what this is this is looking at the 1980 recession, thank you, 81, 91, 2001, 2008, and 2020 recession. So everybody knows this is all, hold on a second, I got to reference the people that did this. Hang on a second. So I can do this. This is from the Federal Reserve. 1980. So what this is, everybody's saying that prices are going to decrease if a recession happens. And I don't believe that. I believe we're going to hit, this is national, by the way, these numbers. We're going to hit our norm, 3 to 6%. I've been running these 2021 year spreadsheets in each one of our jurisdictions, and including the time of great unpleasantness, which is 2008 on this graph. On this end of it, which was a negative 20, roughly 20%. 91 was down a little bit. That was roughly 2% we lost. But everything else above 80 was 6%. 81 was 3%. These are larger. There's been many recessions in between, but these are the larger ones. 6% in 2001 plus, and 2020 was up by 6%. That was the last little recession. That was the one that kind of kicked off with the COVID. There's a little COVID recession in that end of it. So we get asked all the time, well, should I wait and not buy? And the answer is buy, if you can do it. But anyway, I thought that was some good information.
Let's go to Danville, the New River District. We got the king of Danville watching the program, the king of the New River District, Travis Hackworth. Travis.
Look at you.
Hackworth.
You're singing today.
It's great to have you back. Batman and Robin. I miss Batman and Robin. A little bit more of creative freedom in the Batman and Robin scenario.
In the Batcave.
Don't you feel like there's a little bit of more creative?
I've said this once. I've said that nothing.
We love the panels.
We love the panels.
But we also have to showcase the panelists.
We can't be us.
Right.
Well,
we could be us, but it's more about the panelists. Where this allows the distinguished gentleman's sparkling and contagious personality to shine through.
What did he have for breakfast this morning?
I'm just high on life right now.
There you go,
This
buddy.
is Travis Hackworth, New River District, the king of Danville. I bought my first house 6 years ago for $17,000 and dropped $32,000 on renovations. Did the work ourselves. Sold the house 3 years ago for $89,900. The same house is valued at $140,000.
Yeah.
A 1,200 square foot home. Travis, is this in Danville? Is this in the New River District in Danville? I'll give you this again. He bought his first house 6 years ago for $17K. He put $32K into it. So 32 plus 17 is 49. They did the work himself, and then they sold the house for $89,000. That's a delta of 40 G's. Now, granted, you're going to have some real estate commissions, some closing costs, and some taxes you're going to have to pay there, but that's a nice little tidy profit they got. That house is now valued at $140K.
How many years did he buy that ago? What's it
He bought it 6 years ago, sold it 3 years ago, and today it's
I
valued
bet
at
you-
$140.
I bet you that was a foreclosure that he bought.
Was it a foreclosure, Travis? He said he got it south side near the North Carolina line.
Yeah. So what that kind of highlights a little bit, what I think you're going to start seeing here,
We're
is
being called the Abbott and Costello.
Abbott Costello.
Thank you. We'll take that as a compliment. And people want to hear you sing jingles.
No,
And
Chad, I don't believe you.
I just
totally
made that.
do not
I
believe
just
you.
made that one.
I totally don't believe
You caught me.
Yeah.
I completely made that up.
I know you. 3+ years.
Who wants Keith Smith to sing a jingle?
No.
Put it in the
no.
feed if you want Keith Smith
No,
to sing
nobody-
a jingle. Kevin Higgins, do you want it? JB Turner, do
Hey,
you want
hey,
it?
time out. We
Leo
have
Williamson.
we have an obligation.
Jonas says no.
We have. When you don't look at me when you say something, I damn well know you're saying something. We have.
Christopher Eagle wants you to sing a jingle.
I know he does.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But we have to pay. We have an
Kevin
obligation.
Kevin Higgins said no, don't sing.
Thank you, Kevin.
No.
We have an obligation to our awesome sponsors not to go ahead and do that. So I think that was probably a foreclosure.
He says it was his grandmother's home.
Oh, got it.
No
Got
real
it.
estate agent, grandmother's home.
Got it.
Sold it himself.
Got it.
Kevin says, I don't think either of you could carry a tune in a bucket, but you guys are hilarious. Thank you very much for
I
that.
could not carry a tune in a bucket.
This is Kevin Higgins
I got to write that down.
from Greenwood, Virginia. I've not heard one good explanation from anyone, including financial experts. Judah, go to a 3-shot. I want you to give your take on this comment about to come in. I have not heard one good explanation from anyone, including financial experts and the government, as to why there are so many challenges hiring people and getting people back to work. Until that is understood and fixed, we are stuck in quicksand as a country. While the price of gas is devastating for families, it's really a distraction from the core why. In the past week, I have walked into 6 businesses that had to close early due to employee shortages. If this is not fixed, we are stuck, and I'd concur with the JP Morgan CEO that an economic hurricane is coming. I hope it's a Category 1.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make about this recession. There's all these things packing on. And right now, inflation is what? There's basically too much cash chasing too few goods, right? Or in this case, services, right? And the prices are getting inflationary. But our youngest daughter and son-in-law was supposed to fly in from Seattle on Thursday to spend the weekend with us because we were doing a celebration for birthdays. Their flights got canceled. Not enough pilots, not enough flight attendants. They canceled their flight. And this is kind of, this is kind of what I've been wanting to talk a little bit about, the opportunity right now. The level of expectations right now from people is so low. If you just do the basics, you become awesome, right? What is that?
You're talking about as an employee?
Just as anybody, and as an employee, as a service business, we're in the service business, all of us, right? Just doing the basics, showing up on time, listening to people, caring,
Well, those aren't the basics. That's going above and beyond.
Do you think so? You think showing up on time?
Dude, so many jobs.
I'm talking about what we do for a living. If you didn't show up on time, you were not listening to your clients, and you were not caring about what your clients said, you wouldn't have clients anymore.
No, you're right. But our jobs, okay, so I want your take here, because you got a good take on this. And Kevin Higgins' question is, where are the people for all the open
jobs? Well, let's face it,
jobs?
so part of what he's saying is that people staying home because they got paid to stay home.
Well, that's over. There's no more money to stay home.
Beyond over.
That's beyond over. His take is pretty good on this. Explain your take on why people aren't working these.
Or are the numbers right?
These frontline. I think the numbers are right. The frontline jobs, the F&B
I don't think
jobs.
they are.
And I'll add to this before I get your take. Big tech, Uber, Meta, Snap, big tech, a number of different ones, have slowed hiring. They are not hiring big tech, right? The F&Bs, the mom and pops, the the front line.
Tesla's getting rid of 10%.
Tesla is freezing.
But are they getting rid of that because they're upping their robots and stuff like that, or?
No, it's a reaction of these inflationary times.
Yeah.
And they're mindful of their balance sheet. Give them your take
So that's the point I've been trying. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
on what people are doing, especially these F&B jobs, these frontline jobs. Your take is pretty good on this. Go.
So my take, and I think I've read various versions of this. Basically, when the pandemic started, you had a bunch of people who were told they couldn't come into work. They had to stay home. They got what, $600, $1,200 for. I mean, they certainly
How long
didn't.
does that last?
They certainly didn't get enough to carry them through however long they weren't allowed to work. So in the meantime, these were people that were working, like you said, F&B jobs. So they were not making, I don't think a lot of them were making, the kind of money that you would need to start putting away and saving. So they were barely making ends meet before all this happened. Once the pandemic hit, they couldn't go to work. So now they're basically they're just watching their money go down the drain. They're probably, I would imagine they were using whatever money they had to continue eating. And thankfully, our government gave people some leeway in paying rent and things like that. So then, whether it was 6 months or 9 months or 12 months later, or in some cases possibly even longer, they're told that they can come back to work, and now they're looking at 9 months, 12 months of debt and saying, I was working a job that barely made ends meet, and now you want me to go back and try to make up the difference in this 6, 9, 12 months of just piling the debt on.
So talk about how the mind shift has changed. And what I was hoping for the take that you would give is a large portion of our country is choosing to live their lives with less.
They have to. How can they not? I mean, look at it this way.
But that's not
Look at it this way. You
unusual,
can rent a home for what, $1,800, $2,000 a month.
Depends on the house. $1,800 is probably going to get you an
So
apartment.
one of the interesting
Okay,
articles.
but the point being is that same person might not be eligible to get a loan to buy a house
At that monthly
that would
payment.
put them at a much lower monthly payment.
Yeah.
That's absurd. I mean,
Or
I
even worse,
understand
there
the
might
bank
not be
has-
a house to buy that
Okay,
would put
but-
them at
but
that
that's-
lower monthly
well, so
payment.
But that's
so-
irrelevant at this point. What I'm talking about is the fact that if the only rental you can find is what, a 1-bedroom for how much?
A 1-bedroom is probably going to cost you $1,300 a month.
And you could probably get a mortgage on a townhouse for $1,000.
Mortgage on a townhouse,
$1,000 or less.
say it's no. You got no. 250 townhouse now, 250 to 300,000.
Good luck finding one.
Yeah, you're not going to find
So
one.
we're
and if
selling,
you do find one, it's a $2,000 monthly payment.
and you're yeah. So
$2,000 monthly payment.
Dude, with the rates now,
I can add
What
some.
rate did you get?
I can add
Do you
some
remember?
some context to that. So the $243,000 homes that we're selling for the land trust is roughly PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance is around $1,800.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But you can't rent something like that. So it's in the other article Yona read me was from so when you're up in New York, you get the New York Times version of the New York City version of it, and every article. And off air before we came on, I was having this conversation with you that we've been talking about this stuff forever on this stuff, but every article I'm reading, lack of inventory, lack of homes to sell, lack of apartments available, that we have not as a country got past this regulatory oversight, or overreach, I should say, on that end of it to create some stuff. So they were talking about the new trend in Manhattan right now is a 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan right now is $4,000. And what's happening in that 1-bedroom apartment, they're co-sharing it. The three of us are co-sharing it.
How does that work?
Well, what they do is they actually put
Like a sleeping schedule?
No. They actually They were like putting like sheets up, and they were dividing the room up into, so they were two strangers rent the room. So it used to be you could rent the room. We would be roommates, right? I'd rent room 1, I rent room 2, Judah rents room 3.
Now roommates does not mean rooms in the same house. It means the same room.
Literally the same room. And there was another a part of that article was about what's happening is that people of my age and up that have their homes and they can't afford them anymore, right? Because up for taxes and stuff like that, they're bringing in these tenants. And oh, by the way, if you go back and look at the history, that was done during World War II, by the way, because they didn't have enough housing for people. It's a really great movie. I can't remember the name of it. That was done in the 40s about that. So look, you really got my brain changing on this. Has this ever been the worst time for first-time home buyers? And I think the factor on it is not enough inventory, which is causing rents to go through the roof.
Yep.
Right? I think you're going to see appreciation, just like we looked at on slide number 3 on this stuff, 6% in 80, 3% in 81, a -2 in 91, positive 6.6 in that, -20 in 208, and positive 6. You're going to see that balance out in this 6%. Again, back to the thing, the best way to compete against inflation or hedge inflation is to own it. You're going to see, I think, rents double those numbers. I think you're going to see rents going up over on it because there's just nothing there to rent. That same $400 house that I rented in 88 is $2,400 now. I don't know what that math is, but that's a lot.
Yeah. Sandra Collins.
Oh, she's classy.
Do you know Sandra Collins?
Very much so.
Okay, she's watching the program. She has this to say. Women are out of the workforce, gentlemen. Women are out of the workforce because they get paid, a lot of them, $11 to $15 an hour. Well, childcare, as Keith just highlighted, is $20 an hour. How's that going to work?
$25 an hour for...
In Connecticut.
That's babysitter.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what my daughter and son-in-law pay for daycare for 2 kids is substantially above my mortgage payment.
She also says we have an inverted triangle of retiring baby boomers out of the workforce. Retiring baby boomers leaving the workforce, an inverted triangle right there. Sandra Collins watching the program.
Correct. So what you're doing, and we've talked about this before, you're having the baby boomers, which is myself, competing against the millennials for it. And I'm driving up yesterday, and maybe Neil can help me with this, and you guys can help me with this.
He shared a very important comment that I should read.
Okay.
But finish your thought.
No, I wrote a note down. Go ahead.
Okay. He says, here's a press release from Charlottesville City Hall. Okay? The headline of the press release from Charlottesville City Hall. City Building Permit Division experiencing low staffing levels.
Yeah.
Here are 3 paragraphs from that press release from Charlottesville City Hall.
Yeah.
The City of Charlottesville Department of Neighborhood Development Services, NDS, is currently experiencing low staffing levels in its Building Permit Division.
That's nothing new, by the way.
As a result, there are major delays
Yeah.
in the issuance of building permits and inspections. NDS remains committed to serving all constituents in the community. Every effort is being made to process permits and inspections in the most timely manner possible. The department acknowledges inconvenience this may cause and appreciates everyone's patience and cooperation during this time. Building and trade inspections will not be available May 31 to June 13th. Information about submitting third-party inspections can be found online.
So just think about that. I've got a closing that's going to happen in that period of time. I can't get a CO. I can't close.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this on Friday. Not only. So there's a couple things we always champion here, right? Turn red tape into green tape. Missing middle, right? More housing for everybody. This helps everybody across the board. Even if the politicians say, or even if let's say the state of Virginia, this will never happen, but let's say the state of Virginia follows what Oregon and Washington has done and makes a state level decision that says we want more housing, right? They make this decision that if the local, because this is what happens in Washington and Oregon, if the local jurisdiction rejects something that the state says we want more housing, they can go up to the state and actually reverse the local decision. That's probably never going to happen here, but the point that I'm trying to make is even if all of a sudden the local jurisdiction starts approving projects, you can't get a building permit.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the building permit is the last part of the permitting process. So NDS, so not only are building permits, this is an important part here, not only are the building permits and the COs held up, the permits for me to develop and create the lot to go ahead and give it to the builder to build is also delayed. This project out in Fulvana County, unfortunately, I had a sleepless night about it last night. I have some concerns about it. It's taken 2 years to get past the site plan thing. So much so, local folks that live around there thought that something just got approved, didn't realize it's been in the works for 6+ years. The other thing that's a little concerning is now you got to get inspections. Even Fulvana County is having problems keeping up with their inspections because things are starting to pick up a little bit. It's a lack. Why is NDS having a problem? They don't have enough people.
They can't hire.
They don't have enough people.
Your son-in-law Harry Tyson's watching.
Hey, Harry.
You alluded to the daycare bill each month.
Yeah, I didn't want to say the number.
He gave the number.
Yeah, I want him to do that.
We pay $3,700 a month for 2 kids in daycare.
Yeah.
That's astronomical. Did you hear that?
That's insanity.
That's insane.
And
that is insane.
And this will burn his goat.
That's a reason to move south right there, Harry Tyson.
Well, yeah. If
5 days a week of daycare in Virginia, 1 kid, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3-4-year-old is going to run you under $500 a month.
Yeah. So that's what I didn't write that number down. What was that number?
$3,700 a month.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call it 4K.
Call 4K.
But very interesting. They get shut during COVID. I remember having this conversation with Harry. They would shut down because they had a case.
And you still had to pay full tilt.
Still had to pay full
rate.
Full rate.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's how they were doing it.
That's just crazy. $4,000 a month. Just think about that. So $4,000 a month.
Is that 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Harry?
Man, that kid would be there at...
He says we'd move south, but your daughter, his wife's job requires her to be in New York pretty much.
Yeah, Harry can get a job at what he does. He can work any place. He's just a rock star at what he does on that stuff. But for Yasmina, it's L.A. or New York, but it's interesting. For $4,000 a month, she could travel up back and forth.
Jamie Turner says, I'm on Keith's side. No jingle, please.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. I don't know what got into his Wheaties, but it's pretty good. What time is it? Oh, my God, it's 11:30.
I know. The show is humming. We got a lot of comments to get to.
I did not get to my notes. Wednesday.
Okay, we can do that. He says, I'm seeing 20 and 30-somethings at his company walking away from multiple 6 figures to explore passion projects and other items.
Yeah.
I had a chance to talk with one of them before leaving, and she said she was just burnt out from the last 2 years and wanted to take some time to build something for herself. I'm seeing that with the businesses that we're brokering. A lot of these business owners are out of the pandemic. And I say to him, you're out of the pandemic. You've made it.
The
hard part is behind
over.
you.
Yeah, sure.
And their response is,
I'm burnt out.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I'm burnt out. Yeah.
I do not want to do this anymore.
Interesting stat, and either you, Neil, or Judah can double check, or one of the viewers and listeners can double check me on that. But this whole Great Resignation thing was interesting. I read an article about that 70% of the people that did that regret that they did it.
Regret quitting.
There, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
Isn't that obvious?
Well, most of them are millennials, right?
Of course they're going to do it. The grass is not greener on the other side.
It never is.
How many times do we have to go through things in life to realize that the grass is not greener on the other side? How many times have we made that mistake? I've made that mistake so many times. It's never greener.
Yeah, I know you well enough to know this. You don't make the same mistake twice, though.
I had that where it's like always seeing something. What's the saying? A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush.
That's exactly right.
Isn't that what it is? A bird in the hand is always better than two in the bush.
But I want on Wednesday, because Scott's out spending time with his family on that. On Wednesday, I kind of want to take a higher road conversation about this, because this everything we're talking about business wise and personal is going to start changing. This recession is going to come. We may bounce back and forth and all this kind of great stuff.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think next quarter is actually going to be a little bit higher than last quarter. So technically, to be in a recession, you have to have 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. But look, when you're filling when Harry's paying $4,000 a month and the gas, because I filled up over there.
He's paying $4,000 a month for daycare.
For daycare.
And Kevin Higgins responding to Harry Tyson. Kevin's watching in Waynesboro, Virginia. Harry Tyson is watching in Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah.
And Kevin Yancey says, Harry, $48,000 is more than 50% of UVA employees.
Correct. What they would make with their salary.
Yeah.
What the total salary is. They are paying in daycare what some people actually a percentage.
They're paying in daycare more than over half of the employees at the University of Virginia earn.
Sure. And plus $5 a gallon in fuel. On that, it cost me $100 to fill the Subaru up. I've never put $100
$100 in the Subaru?
Yeah, $100. It was.
What gas are you using?
This regular gas. It was $5. It was just a tad over like 5 something. I didn't shop around. I was late, wanted to get fuel, so I stopped in the first gas station that I saw, but it was $5 a gallon.
Now, this comment's coming in from Stacy. It's important to emphasize that the area of Connecticut they live is one of the most expensive areas of the country.
Oh, sure. But not Norwalk, though.
Norwalk's not cheap.
Well, what they're talking about, it's bookended by
what do you got, Fairfield?
Well, Fairfield, New Canaan, Westport, and what's the where everybody? Oh God,
Talking Greenwich.
Greenwich, thank you. So it's shoehorned between Greenwich and Westport.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty
expensive
area.
But it's not. I mean, we were just looking at a home up there. The taxes that they were paying on this new home up there was like $9,000 a year. Greenwich is like twice or 3 times that amount. Westport is twice or 3 times that amount. So up there, you kind of look at what are you paying for your taxes per year. Just imagine that $9,000. So not only are they paying $4,000 a month on that, they're paying $9,000. I don't know what they're paying in the taxes, but I suspect it's pretty close to that on that end of it. They're paying for a ton of gas. No wonder why I had to pay for the dinner. So gladly did it.
Kevin, it's not popular right now, but Elon Musk, Kevin Higgins, King of Greenwood, it's not popular right now, but Elon Musk requiring employees back in the office, and the fact he will personally review exceptions tells you how committed he is to getting this country working again. He needs to sell Teslas and get his employees back to the office. I think people are coming back to work, guys.
I got to tell you,
they're coming back to work.
I had talk about Tesla. I had an oh shucks moment going up. Literally, a guy was in an S, asleep. The car was driving itself. The guy was literally sitting there sleeping.
That's great.
It was weird, man. That freaked me out.
Neil Williamson, comparing Connecticut townships reminds me of Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School when he said, "You want to look skinny? Then have fat friends."
There you go, buddy. So on Monday, we'll kind of talk into a little bit about, I want to kind of get in how we can help people, particularly people in business and the service.
He said, hey, Keith, we just got an email. Harry, we just got an email literally 2 minutes ago during the show.
They shut down
that daycare rates are going up.
Sorry.
Literally just got an email.
Yeah, it's just... It was interesting. I get asked all the time, why did I leave New York in 1987? Even in 1987, right? I couldn't afford to live there. I literally couldn't afford to live. I don't know how Harry and Yasmina do it, right? I just don't know how they do that. The two of them work their butts off, right? To pay now, not that people don't do that here. The numbers are just different, right? I know it requires two income families to survive here, but those numbers are just so big. Whatever. God bless them. They're doing a better job than I could do. But I want to next.
Love you, Harry.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun. We sat on the back deck and chatted and had a cocktail, which was I enjoy every moment of those times I can get.
Good.
That's something that old dudes talk about, hanging out with grandkids and doing scooters and going oh shit and taking a dive and my ribs are still a little bruised from it.
You're a good man, Keith Smith.
Oh yeah, I had like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. Oops, I can't do
He rode his grandson's scooter, for those that are just tuning into the program.
No, not his grandson. I read my daughter's scooter.
Oh, your daughter's scooter. Sorry.
And I was trying to keep up with my grandson, and I couldn't do it.
Your daughter's scooter. How about some closing thoughts for the viewers and listeners?
Yeah, so I kind of don't want to scare people, but this is coming, right? We need to prepare for it. We're going to talk a little bit about Wednesday, particularly folks that are in the service business, on what you can do. Getting back to the basics and the fundamentals is important. We'll talk a little bit about that. I speak from our perspective of having been through this before. On what we can do, and I just love our Batman and Robins.
Dude, I love it.
I'm looking for one on Wednesday. Friday is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get into new construction, so I'm going to get to geek out a little bit on my new construction stuff, which I love. I'm not going to brush off a few new construction.
Amanda Lamone of Stanley Martin on Friday. Christopher Bremen of Vermonte Homes on Friday.
Yeah.
Wednesday, it's going to be Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Scott Morris is traveling.
He's traveling, yeah. He's enjoying. I think he's hanging out with the family at the beach, if I remember.
That's what he's doing.
If I remember correct. But he's still working because, man, I was on the phone with him 3 times already this morning on some stuff.
Scott Morris, guys, Ross Mortgage, Keith Smith of Yes Realty Partners, Judah Wickower, Jack of all trades of I Live Seville.
And soon to have a ponytail.
Oh, yeah. Man bun. A lot of your fans are asking for a man bun. Judah Wickower, can we go to the one shot over there and show everybody the man bun? You can pull off a David Beckham man bun. I think you could.
Did you just compare him to David Beckham?
I did.
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go with the man bun. I don't think it'll ever happen.
You don't think you'll wear a man bun? Your fans are asking man bun.
My fans, sure.
Can you pull the hair back and see what the man bun would look like?
It's man bun. It goes up, I think.
Yeah, it goes up.
You have to be
Look
like
at that. That's super hipster. He could pull off the man bun.
Just because I could pull it off doesn't mean I should pull it off.
I like it. It's super hipster.
Okay.
Okay. Keith doesn't like it. All right. Keith doesn't like it.
I do. Look, Judah, Judah can do no wrong. You and I get into all trouble all the time.
Of course we do.
But
Just
Judah,
like I do at home.
oh yeah, Judah can do no harm. So I'm excited, man. Thank you for this. Is just a great show, and I'm looking forward to
it's
Wednesday.
dynamite.
Looking for Wednesday, and I've literally got pages and pages of notes we didn't even get to.
I can't wait. Wednesday, Real Talk, 10:15 a.m. We'll close with this. Kevin Higgins of Greenwood, Virginia. This country needs the same discipline and strength that Keith had on his rebound. If that doesn't happen, we are just throwing darts out there.
So we're going to thank you for setting me up because we'll talk about what it takes to rebound. Thank you on Wednesday.
Keith, Judah, Jerry, Real Talk, presented by
Yes Realty Partners.
Yes Realty Partners, baby. Yes Realty
And
Partners.
RealTalkWithKeithSmith.com.
All the shows archived at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com.
I've used the hell out of that. I had.
Did you give your magnets away? Did you bring some to Connecticut?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Oh, man.
Damn.
So what are you doing with the magnets? Are they just collecting dust at Ix?
Maybe we'll give them away.
You need to give away those magnets.
That's an idea.
Give
We'll give them away.
Give away the magnets.
Okay, yes, sir. God. Give away magnets. What else am I supposed to do?
Just be your...
Sing? I'm supposed
be
to
yourself.
sing?
No,
I'm
dude,
supposed to sing?
You crushed it today, homie.
I had fun. Thank you.
It was so fun.
I love this stuff.
Me
Absolutely
too.
love it.
I absolutely
So
love
much
it.
so, I think I'll take the rest of the day off.
He's taking the rest of the day off. Yona, no, he's not Yona.
No, I got to show houses here in a little bit. That's the reason I got to get going.
It's going back to work, Yona.
I got to actually go do something.
We got to go to work. Judah and Keith, I'm Jerry, guys. Thank you kindly for joining us. We'll see you on Real Talk Wednesday at 10:15 a.m. for another edition of Batman and Robin with Alfred sitting shotgun. So long, everyone. Have a good afternoon. Take care. Well done, Keith.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. I have fun.